Let's talk about Britain's problem with the skilled kebab visas. We've just got too many skilled kebabs in this country.
You mean kebab or gyros?
Kebab. I had gyros last night, which was actually very nice. It was the first time ever having it.
You saved it now.
No. These are like halal kebab places. Okay. So first of all, I wanted to say that this is going to be one of those segments where I just talk about how rundown, miserable, grimy England and the rest of Britain is these days. Thanks to all of the problems that we constantly discuss, it's another one of those. So
they're going to make a difference with this.
This one will make we're turning the tide this time, boys. So I wanted to let everybody know that there is goodness out in the world still. There are people creating good culture, including us, with the Islander magazine, which we've now got issue 3, volume 3, out on the website, available for $14.99. And this is a really wonderful piece of work by some great authors. We've got contributions from Morgoth's Review, Nima Parvini, Carl Benjamin, Marcus Follin, plenty, and as a pure aesthetic experience as well. You will feel great reading it, because as always, Rory's done a wonderful job with the visual design. But furthermore than that, I always want to support other people within our spheres, friends of the channel, who are trying to develop culture, produce positive culture. And as such, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Philosophy Cat, who is currently in the process of getting a documentary released called The Soul of Chivalry, which will be premiering on March 20th, 2025. It's based on some of the works of Julius Evola, particularly Revolt Against the Modern World, and it's talking about the Middle Ages of Europe and the numerous knightly orders that emerged, their esoteric secrets kept only for the initiates. It sounds really, really interesting. It's already won Best Documentary at Bluebird Film Festival. You can watch the trailer on here, and I believe on the website that you can follow there, it's already on pre-order. So I just wanted to throw a little word out for people that within our spheres there are people actually producing culture, producing work that people can appreciate, and something that harkens back to a time when things were a bit better, perhaps.
I really find interesting anything that has to do with initiation practices. It has my attention.
Let's not go back onto your cult when we were developing our Lads Hour cults. I remember some of the initiation practices. Very Greek. Very Greek.
I'll just remember.
I misremember. I do remember it was that one was popular with a certain segment of our audience. Anyway, so of course, one of the big problems in the UK right now is all of the immigration, and the one thing that the mainstream media always wants to harp on is the illegal crossings of the channel, and you can track them very, very easily on Migration Watch UK. So let's take a look at some of the figures that have been coming out recently. So obviously, it ramped up massively over the past 7 years. 2018, we get 299 in the full year. By the time you get to 2022, we reach the peak so far, which was 45,774 people come across the channel in 1 year. We're still collecting the figures for 2025. Obviously, it's only March, but 2018 to present, illegal crossings, the amount of people who've arrived via illegal crossings has been 101,161, I believe that is. And let's just take a look at some of the fiscal benefits that we get from these illegal people showing up in the country, which is that in 2022, the cost of housing asylum seekers in hotels had risen to £5.6 million per day, plus a further £1.2 million for Afghan evacuees. And if you scroll down here, you can also find the daily crossings for this year so far. You can go back through the pages, but so far over the past few days, let's see, it is the 13th of March today, so we don't have that. On the 10th of March, 261 people crossed. 9th of March, 237. On the 2nd of March, 592 people crossed. That's what we get for having literally a week of nice weather in the UK. We get people breaking into the country. So you can't even really enjoy the weather when it's nice here anymore, because this is always going to be in the back of your mind.
I mean, you have to understand this, because when it's sunny here, it's heavenly.
It is really lovely. Even Swindon feels nicer. Not nice, but nicer when it's sunny.
No. Because when it's sunny, you just see it.
Yeah, you're right, actually. It's the fog and mist.
Exacto.
The fog and mist is Swindon at its best. You're absolutely right, Stelios. But, of course, this is all terrible. This is all bad. But it's the only thing the government really wants you to be focusing on. It's the sort of thing that they put out statements on their official government page, like they did on the 7th of March this year, saying a Home Office spokesperson said, "We want to end all dangerous small boat crossings which threaten lives and undermine our border security. The people smuggling gangs do not care if the vulnerable people they exploit live or die as long as they pay, will not stop at anything to dismantle their business models and bring them to justice." The same kind of statement they've been making for years. Also, I hate the framing of this, which is that we, the people who are being taken advantage of by these international mercenaries, should feel bad for the people breaking into our country because they're just so vulnerable. They're wannabe doctors and nurses, women and children, when you see, in reality, it's always fighting-age men in large numbers. That's always what it is. But the government wants to focus on that, whereas actually, terrible as all that is, the real problem, as ever, is legal migration into the country. So this is stuff that there's well-trodden ground at this point, but it's worth going over. So in 2023, 1.2 million people migrated into the UK and 479,000 people emigrated of it. A net migration figure of 782,000. 1.2 million people into the country. And the latest ONS population estimates for the whole of the UK suggest that in the year ending June 2021, there were 6 million people living in the UK who had the nationality of a different country. This does not include dual nationals, where one nationality is British, so that's doing some heavy lifting. 3.4 million EU nationals were also living in the UK. I'm not as much of a problem with the EU nationals, but this is, as we always point out, mass demographic change taking place in this country that will irrevocably change the culture and the behaviour of the people who are here, because they are different people than the ones who lived back here before. And this is always sold to us by, but they're raising GDP. You get such a wide range and variety of restaurants in the country now. Why don't you, fat gammon Brexit boy, actually appreciate this for the benefits that it's bringing you? And, you know, maybe we would. Maybe we would if it was actually bringing benefits. So there is always a distinction to make between the quality of migration into the country, which is between the EU migrants and non-EU migrants, that people always want to differentiate. Sorry, what were you just going to say, Stella?
No, I wanted to add to what you said before, that it's absolutely the case that legal migration can be problematic. I think what is very problematic in the UK is the policy, the spirit of the policy, which it's uncontrolled, mass, basically zero criteria, but also it has several premises that contextualize the policy, according to which they say, well, the native people aren't going to actually work in some jobs, so that's why we need endless.
Which is always always an excuse.
Which is an excuse. Also, the idea with the GDP, that if you just have more migration, the GDP is going to rise. Well, it may rise. The problem is you have to distribute it
what about
more
per
people.
Capita?
You have to distribute per capita.
They can never get through per capita, can they? But anyway, this is the policy document from the CPS that we read quite a lot of last year. It was done in conjunction with Robert Jenrick, who is part of the Conservative Party, probably the only good Tory member at the moment. And if you go down to this page here, which is what is the fiscal impact of migration? Okay, well, GDP's going up. They're a net contribution to society. Is that true? Wah, 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 no. So all migrants, here's the net contribution for migrants and UK born. So EEA is the EU, and non-EEA and UK born. Okay, so, Oh, okay.
There are several studies that show
So
that
non-EEA never have a positive fiscal contribution into the country.
yeah, there are several studies that show this.
Yes, and in fact, they include one of them that we always refer back to, which is the Danish study in Denmark, where it's the difference between the Danish origin people, other Western immigrants over a full lifetime of average net contribution to public finances, and MENAPT, which is Middle East, North African, I think Pakistani and Turkish. Never throughout their entire lifespan in the country do they actually financially contribute.
You know what? Basically, if you see a group whose members' potential deportation is presented as a human rights issue, most probably it's going to be unproductive overall. But if you mentioned Denmark, if someone from Denmark is going to be deported, there aren't going to be many Danish people just about to invade Whitehall and the Parliament.
No, certainly. And there's the employment rate that we can get by country of birth. So let's go. So at the top, we've got New Zealand, Poland, all of these people. A lot of European countries right at the top there. South Africa, but it doesn't disaggregate whether they are white or black South Africans. EU total, doing pretty all right. And then you start to get all the way to the bottom. Turkey, ooh, not very good, not very good. Only 60% of them are in any kind of work at all. North Africa, ooh, only just about over 50% of them. Pakistan, oh, who's right? Oh, Iraq, less than 50% of them are employed at all, whether in part-time or full-time work. And there's another great one down here, if I continue scrolling. Where is it? And here it is, which is economic inactivity, which is the way that they like to try and hide the actual unemployment figures. And that's economic inactivity by country of birth. MENAT, so that's Middle East, North African, and Turkish, almost 40% of all people who fall within that cohort, economically inactive. Nothing, no contribution, only a net drain. So where's the benefit? It's cultural. It's cultural. The benefit is cultural. They come here.
Harry, where's the kebab? I'm hungry.
They come here and they bring peace, right? They don't absolutely commit way more crimes than the native population. Sex crimes, Afghans 22 times more likely to offend rather than Brits. Drug crimes, Albanians, surprise, surprise, 152 times more likely to commit than British people. Violence, Congolese 11 times more likely. And this is information from the Centre for Migration Control. And they do lots of great information as well, like this one. There were over 100,000 migrant convictions between 21 and 2023, including tens of thousands for sexual, drug, violence and theft offences. In total, 87 nationalities had a higher conviction rate for sexual offences than Brits. North Africans are convicted at 6.6 times the rate of Brits, Middle Easterners at 3.8, and Sub-Saharan Africans at 2.6 times the rate of Brits. Nationalities with the highest conviction rates for sex crimes were awarded over 50,000 long-term visas last year, and up to a quarter of all sexual offence convictions were of migrants who are convicted for sexual crimes at a rate 70% higher than the British population. So it's not culture, it's not peace. They're not bringing peace, they're not bringing prosperity. So it's got to come down to the food. It has to come down to the food. Well, that's where Stephen Edgington and GB News come in with a new interesting documentary, which you should check out. It's currently members only, so check it out with GB News if you want, which refers to Centre for Migration Control information, finding hundreds of skilled visas going to kebab workers. Skilled visa workers were sponsored by 56 kebab houses, 83 businesses with halal in their name, and one butcher alone sponsored 918 visas. He must have a hell of a business going if he needs that many butchers to come in. If he needs that many skilled workers, his food must be flying off the shelves. Those kebabs must be oof, premium. Everybody's getting them. And bear in mind as well, skilled worker visas can bring their dependents with them. So 918 visas does not mean 918 people. That could mean almost 2,000 people if they bring one person with them. That could mean almost 3,000 people if they bring two dependents with them. Could be 4,000 people, all off of the back of one butcher.
This is what they tried to do in Ireland where they tried to change the definition of the family and turn it to durable relationship. And also they tried to change who gets economic benefits so they could just give indefinitely economic help to anyone they consider the friend.
Yeah, and if this one butcher as well, if he's got 918 visas, I mean, either he's got the world's largest butchers and just needs all of these people, or they will come into the country, maybe work there for a month or two, then spread out into the rest of the country, flip from low-paying job to low-paying job, maybe become part of some separatist ethnic enclave with its own economy, where taxes are just kind of a thing that other people pay. So no contribution to the country whatsoever. So in the article, I won't watch any of the documentary, of course. You can watch that yourselves. There is some extra information. So GB News went to Bradford to speak with locals and migrants about their views on immigration. One resident who legally migrated to Britain from Pakistan in 1994 said he did not believe working in kebab shops is skilled work, telling this broadcaster, "When I came here, I didn't even know how to cook an egg, but I know everything now. I don't believe that it's a highly skilled job." I mean, there you go. According to the government's website, butchers and chefs are eligible professions to acquire a skilled worker visa, alongside call centre supervisors. Right, I've worked in a call centre. That's not skilled work. That is not skilled work at all. Bar managers, personnel managers, and gym instructors. We've just got oh my god, we need the gym instructors. We've got nowhere near enough PTs in gyms across the country. We're dying for them. We're begging for them. Quick, bring you and your entire family into our local Pure gym where you can enrich the economy.
And you know, Harry, after a good workout, you need kebab.
I do. It's the protein.
Exactly.
Got to hit that protein window half an hour straight after. And immigrants have been given skilled worker visas sponsored by the 56 kebab houses, etc., as it was said in the original tweet. Data from the Freedom of Information request that the... let me just double check that I'm not getting the Centre for Migration Control put in, revealed that across the country, kebab shops and Asian restaurants sponsored more than a dozen visas each. One kebab house in Bradford sponsored 14 visas, while another in Birmingham sponsored 12. We are being so enriched by these people. And in January, of course, former Foreign Secretary Priti Patel, Home Secretary Priti Patel, defended her record on migration because she's very eager to let us know how enriched we were by all of this. Legal migration reached record numbers under the previous Conservative government, peaking at 1.2 million in 2023. 337,240 work visas were granted to immigrants in 2023, of which nearly 200,000 were skilled visas. So they all went to a kebab house near you. And the overwhelming majority of these visas were given to non-EU migrants. So let's remind ourselves, what do non-EU migrants bring to us? They bring lots of nice sex, crime, and poverty. But, as I have been informed by politicians speaking at the House of Lords and Parliament, you can be certain that if you're drunk at 3 a.m, that there will always be a kebab house open near you so you can have a nice sloppy kebab while your country falls apart around you, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? The wide variety of fantastic spicy restaurants. Make it end.
Islander issue 3 is now available to purchase from shop.lotus.com and is the next step in the story that we are telling with this magazine. For this issue, we have collected piercing and esoteric essays from the finest right-wing minds on the theme of our civilizational winter. Each of our authors is an expert in bringing forth the most important hidden revelations from the lowest reaches of the soul, and it has all been beautifully rendered in a medievalist revivalist aesthetic. For this issue, I commissioned a new translation of the ancient Anglo-Saxon poem, The Wanderer, and have written a companion essay exploring how it is a reflection of our modern experience. I personally feel that this is the most important thing I've ever written, so I will be looking forward to your feedback on it. We have resolved our distribution issues, with the magazines being printed in advance of the orders, so we can guarantee that you will receive your copy very soon after ordering it, and you will also receive emailed updates so you can see exactly where it is. Hopefully, issue 3 can provide you with the space and context to engage in deep reflection about the nature of our circumstances, to discover hidden truths about yourself and find the resolve to make it through our spiritual exile.